what did you think about playing at Villanova? I mean, that program really came up, in the years that you were there, kind of went from to competitive. How did that happen?
I think a couple things. I mean, one, we've had great coaching there with Coach Crowder and Coach Simon Connor, and second of all, I mean, they recruited well. We've seen a lot of recruits get picked earlier and earlier, and my advice should be, just keep playing, because a lot of guys fall through the cracks. I think myself was one of them to get picked up a little bit later in the recruiting process, and you can really form a dynamic class. I mean, that has kind of been their model, and with great coaching and finding guys that fit in the right spots, they've built an excellent program.
And do you see kids out there who are not committed to D1 schools, who are maybe seniors, you're thinking, how did this kid get missed?
Totally. The guy who ends up rising to the top is the guy who's going to work consistently throughout high school, then keep working from the day he steps on campus to the day he leaves.
How did you develop that motor? How did you really go from kind of an average athlete at some point in your life to a phenomenal one?
Phenomenal might be a stretch, but I got to give that credit to my brother. I mean, growing up, after having him chase me around all day and trying to get away after I hit him with a quick punch and had to jump for my life, I developed that speed and that stamina. See, he was relentless.
What were you doing, as you got a little older? What kind of stuff did you start really focusing on to develop leg strength and speed?
Lacrosse specifically, I always say, I love to throw takeaway checks now, but my defensive coach from 7th grade all the way through my senior year in high school, by the name of Bob Elmer, great defensive coach, he had me play without a stick to start off every practice from 7th to 12th grade, and I think that really helped develop my feet and my footwork and my stamina along the way.
In terms of building up the ability to run with a guy, I mean, were you a long distance guy? Were you put in miles? Were you running telephone poles, sprints? Were you just playing lacrosse?
All interval training. Best shape I can remember in my life, though, was landscaping during the day and playing lacrosse 5 nights a week. No better way to get in shape for your sport than play that sport.
So what was your big kind of aha moment in terms of developing stick skills as a long stick?
When I first started playing, I was a little behind the 8 ball. I had a short stick in my hand and quickly was moved over to long pole. Felt a little more comfortable. I think realizing it was similar to a hockey stick. Once I realized the wrist and the hand motion was the same, I started hitting the wall and using that same sort of technique as I would to maybe take a wrist shot in hockey. It all kind of clicked for me.
You grew up playing other sports as well?
Hockey and soccer were my first 2 sports, got into lacrosse third. I talked to my father about it too. He said he started playing in college. He'd never even seen the sport before. He grew up in a small town. He couldn't pass and catch, but he could pick up ground balls. So you can pick it up anytime if you find your right spot in the sport.
You mentioned that during one of the sort of clinics, one of the periods of instruction today. Ground balls really got you on the field first. What's the attitude?
It's purely me against you. It's competition and refusal to lose. All a ground ball is who wants it more, and that's usually who ends up getting it.
What do you think about carrying emotion into the sport? So say you just got beat on a ground ball. I mean, are you going to emotionally go after the next ground ball any differently, or is it more about technique?
I'm a guy who plays with a lot of emotion. If I get beat, I'm trying extra hard to make that up the next play. So if someone beats me the first time, I'm going to let them know that was a fluke, and I'm going to beat you the next 6 times.
Setting a high standard for yourself.
That's right. Only way to do it.
In the MLL, what have you found in terms of guys trying to work in to get playing time? I mean, what's the dedication level like? What do you have to do to get on the field?
MLL, in a way, it's even harder than high school and college because you're not practicing every day. So the guys that the guys I'm really impressed with are the guys you see who improve every year they've been playing in the league. It's such a self-maintenance league. The guys who really are going to get on the league might be on the practice squad the first year or 2, but if they keep working year-round at the sport, I mean, they're going to be a star in the MLL. They talk about the sophomore slump in sports, and that's a big year in the MLL, I think, too. Your first year having to condition yourself, and that kind of sets the tone for where you're going to be going forward. There's no doubt. It really becomes, how bad you want it. No one's out there holding your hand or forcing you to do running and weightlifting and getting on the wall. I mean, pretty much is however much time you're going to put into it will determine what you're going to play like in the spring and summer.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Brian. I always appreciate it.
My pleasure, Connor. Always a pleasure.
Thanks.
All right, man.